Up to the early 1950s, malaria was the leading cause of death in this country. After decades of the use of DDT to rid the coastland of this disease, the work of renowned malariologist Dr. George Gigioli had paid off. But the public health sector still expends a significant amount of resources to treat persons suffering with malaria. I spoke recently with Paho WHO's resident representative to Guyana, Dr. William Adukro, about the malaria situation in Guyana. How impactful has malaria been on the economic status of Guyana and the reduction of productivity in the workforce?
When you have about over 30,000 people coming down with malaria, that means that on average about 30,000 people being treated, costly, two, being out of work for almost 7 days. Because when you have malaria, trust me, it's a deadly illness. And therefore, you cannot do anything. So that loss to productivity is high. And even falling down to 10,000, that's 10,000 people within a country of 750,000. So it has a lot of impact in terms of our finances.
Malaria is a disease caused by the parasite Plasmodium, which is mainly transmitted by the bite of an infected mosquito. Globally, an average of 1 in every 400 persons infected with this deadly disease succumbs. He says that although this disease is commonly transmitted through bites from infected mosquitoes, there are other ways of contracting it. For instance, pregnant mothers can pass it on to their unborn babies, and also blood transfusions can result in someone becoming infected too.
Sometimes one has to face whether to give the blood or not give the blood. And if you have to give blood and you don't have everything to test the blood, at least you do the cross match and it matches. You go ahead and transfuse just to save life, and then later on you realize, oh well, the blood was also tainted with malaria. So you could also have it from transmission, from transfusion. I must say that in Guyana we test our blood, therefore that modality of transmission is not that much.
When someone has contracted malaria, how important is it for that person to receive medical treatment?
Oh, it's very important to get medical treatment early, because, like I said, we have the falciparum and the vivax. They're about 50-50 now, around 50-50 in the country, and the falciparum, almost 50% that have the falciparum that go untreated do die. So that's a high case fatality rate if untreated. Therefore, one must seek treatment immediately.
For persons out there who don't know much about malaria, is it a simple bite, one bite from a carrier, a mosquito that carries this disease? Does that really lead to you contracting malaria instantaneously?
Yes, you can, and that's why we have to make every effort to prevent ourselves from being bitten. Because once the mosquito bites you, they inject the parasites into your blood, and the parasite then goes through a life cycle, and then they multiply. And when they multiply to a stage a stage that can overpower the body defenses, then you get the malaria. The malaria as a condition, and yes, for instance, the falciparum is about 50% case mortality rate. About 50% of the people who get it, if not treated, can die.
The Paho WHO resident representative explained that while malaria is a major issue at the global level, in Guyana, strides continue to be made to reduce the number of persons infected.
We have probably around 12,000, 13,000 per year, and out of that, about 3 to 5 people die every year. And that is low, and it's low because of the aggressive control stand being taken by the Ministry of Public Health.
Is eradication of malaria in Guyana possible anytime soon?
Definitely, if one country has been able to do it, we should also be able to do it. But the other thing that I believe is possible, that if we continue the path that we are on, and you realize that in 2013, we had over 35,000 cases. In 2016, we have only about 12,000 cases. Then you know that if we continue the aggressive management and control, reactive case control management, we will be able to have elimination. But that means that everybody must play their part.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen Macklingam.